We're here out for another installment of edible plants on the marginal lands of California. And today I've decided to pick out nettles, which are a stinging and kind of a violent plant that actually is quite edible and can be really tasty and extremely nutritious when prepared right. Looking out here, this is a friend's property. I actually grew up out here on the Delta. This is a good friend of mine's property, the Vandamills. They've given me permission over the years to hunt this land, and a couple of years ago I noticed that after the corn was harvested, a lot of nettles were coming up. And if you'll notice, this dark green patch here that runs down the length is nettle. This is a new variety of nettle for the Delta. I'd never seen this before. Growing up on the Delta, we've seen along the ditches a type of nettle that we always called electric grass. And that's the scientific name is Urtica dioica. This nettle is a recent immigrant, though. I'm about 90% sure that this is a non-native invasive species that may have come up because it might have a resistance to some of the herbicides that are being used throughout the country. This nettle is Urtica urens. It's known as a common nettle, and it doesn't have stinging properties nearly as severe as the electric grass that you'd find in the ditches along here, but it does still sting. And so part of this this video will be showing you how to collect nettles without burning yourself pretty bad. Nettles are known for their sting, obviously, and their sting consists of uric acid, hence the Latin name for this variety, Urtica urens. It's a kind of an unfortunate Latin name. The sting looks like a tiny barb, and it releases an acid that will, when it contacts the skin, will cause a burning and swelling and itching for a few hours. So actually even up to a couple of days for some folks. So in order to properly get nettles then, you want to use leather gloves. Now, one thing I learned also last year when picking nettles and also when picking gooseberries in the Sierra Nevada is you don't want gloves with cloth backing, because the nettles will get through that cloth a lot more frequently than they will the leather. And in fact, I don't think I've ever had a nettle sting me through an all leather glove, but I have definitely been stung on the back of the hand with cloth backed gloves, as well as getting stung on a couple of pieces that end up on the bag and whatnot. So really this one you need, unlike the acorns earlier, you need tools. So I've got gloves here, and I brought my wife's pruning shears. So the attractive purple color gives that away, I hope. Any kind of shears will work, scissors will work. In fact, you can even just pull when they're this young or even a little bit smaller. You could probably just pull the entire plant up out of the ground. But for nettles, what you'll want to be, what you're going to be gathering are the most tender parts of the plant. You don't want to get the parts that are already browning, or you don't want the tougher stems. You want part of the plant that's really tender. So the third tool you'll need is a bag. You'll want a separate bag. Brown paper bags, grocery bags, are, for me, by far the easiest to work with. They stay open. You want that space so that you can drop the nettles down without brushing up against any bare parts of skin that might be available. And then they can roll down really nice and conveniently. And they also don't trap moisture in. They breathe. So that kind of helps too in getting the stuff home and getting to work on it. So the nettles, you'll notice, here's a good one. The tips are really green, dark green and tender. And this one is good even down to this second set of leaves here. What you want to do is grab the nettle up on top, and down at the base of about the nicest set, you just want to clip it off. And what you're left with there is a pretty potent little plant there with some really beautiful dark green leaves, and you'll notice inside there might be flowers or seeds. That's fine, it'll all go in together. And the stem at this height is also really edible, really easy to process. You don't have to do any real work, any more work than you would for any other kinds of greens when you end up eating them. And that's really what the process consists of, is just going along and picking individual heads, just a few inches down of each one. And if you get a couple of brown leaves, that's fine. You can You can either chuck them when you're going through and working on them back in the kitchen, or you can probably just eat a couple of them. It's not going to be a problem. There's no real health risks associated with eating nettles after you've prepared them, which is a really easy green to prepare. So now most of you in the northern hemisphere might be kind of surprised or confused or even angry that we're out here in the early January picking our greens. But that just goes to the nature of foraging. You pick what's in season when it's in season. You don't have a garden that you're preparing and maintaining and you're planting and weeding, etc. You're driving around the places that you know, or walking around the places that you know, biking around the places that you know, and noticing how things are interacting with each other, and noticing what's coming and what's going, what's doing well. And each season, each year is going to be different, very similar to gardening in that respect. Each season you're going to have different levels of sunlight, you'll have different types of rainfall. This year, as we've been blessed with an early season of tremendous amount of rain, but typically in January in the Delta in California, we're probably here about 5 feet below sea level. This is a prime time to start picking greens. Next time, we'll have a chance to look at how to prepare nettles in the kitchen. Will be my first attempt, hopefully, at a video inside the kitchen in preparing nettles to eat them.